blessings, greetings. It's been a while since I've done a video. You know, my favorite place, in the car, on the move. It's the Urban Scholar, owner of the brand that the people love, aka your favorite life coach, your favorite CEO. I was just listening to the radio real quick, and they were talking about some police officer, I guess in New York, who kneeled with the people and then sent an email to his colleagues saying he regretted and he wanted to beat himself up. And I guess that's the news for today, because that's what the radio station people were talking about. So I'm going to say a couple things. I'm not going to say a lot. I'm going to say a couple things about that. Anybody who is of a decent age and knows the history of America, the United States of America, and how it came about, should know better. Why am I saying they should know better? I'm simply saying this. I'm going to focus on two things: law enforcement in this country and politicians, which AKA are the founding fathers of this country, right? They're politicians, right? So we all know how this country came about, how we all are able to benefit from this beautiful land that we live in called America, in the United States of America, right? So we have America that's comprised of United States, right? So this place called America is so-called governed by a president, right? And the states are governed by a governor. Anybody who studied history and learned about politics in elementary and high school know how the construct of government is set up and how voting works and how politicians come about and get into all these positions, right? So I say that to say that why would the politicians of today be any different from those of yesterday? We still have the same America, pretty much the same Constitution, and they're always passing bills and laws and stuff to accommodate, you know, those that be, the powers that be themselves, right? So, same thing with law enforcement. Why would law enforcement today be different than law enforcement from yesterday? When it's the same construct, it's the same base. I say that, and I'm asking the question is, why are we surprised about the outcomes when it's consistent with the history, right? So why are we shocked that all this is still happening? Now, I'm not trying to say we should be used to it. It's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, what we seem to always do is, every time there's a situation, is we talk about it. People get in an uproar. It's different phases. Everybody gets upset. So now, because we're on social media, we see it. So, and people are posting all day about everything that's going on all the time at the speed of light. So you do know social media is the new news outlet. So, and they know that. So they use it to their advantage. So who controls what gets put out in the media? They still control it to a degree. We all know that all these social media websites censor people. They control your content. They control whether or not somebody goes viral, all that stuff. We see it in the movies and the cartoons. They control everything, right? that we pretty much do. So back to the police. So why are we shocked that this officer recanted when he got back amongst his peers and stated that he was forced to kneel and, he wants to beat himself up? Let's not pretend, people, that we don't understand the country that we live in, the people that run it. They're no different from the people that so-called founded it. You found it, you know what I mean? So I'm saying that to say that we gotta graduate in our thinking and stop being in this reactionary phase, and then we start momentum to do certain things, and then it just stops because they control the narratives in the media. They're going to keep changing the story every day, and as long as you're ingesting the media, right, which we have to, like, you want to know information, right, but you really learn who you're dealing with by studying them, their construct, their history, right? And this is consistent with the history of this country, with law enforcement, with politicians. The politicians will tell you everything that you want to hear and get y'all arguing and divided, because we all know the scenario. You got one coin and you got heads and tails, Republicans and Democrats. I'm not going to get into that. I'm not a political guy. I'm just saying it's right there in our face. And if you really believe that there's a stark difference in the outcomes of these politicians and these parties, let's look at the history. Let's look at the history of this country. Look at the history of Democratic and Republican presidents, because that's all that's been in office. There's never been an independent, there's never been nobody from the Green Party, never been nobody from nowhere else, right? They control the whole construct. They control the narratives all the way down to the president. It just pains me that in 2020, people are still arguing about voting for a president that we don't even pick. I don't know. Maybe it's me. Is there something I'm missing that when we vote for a president, the effect it has on who actually goes into office? Am I missing something? I'm just tired of the foolishness and the ignorance. And the ignorance is coming from the educated people. More so, in some scenarios than it is from the people who are not even educated. So stop thinking that because you're educated, that means you know something. Like when you go to school, you study a certain thing, right? You get your master's, whatever it is, and that's what you know. It doesn't translate into politics. It doesn't translate into political awareness. It doesn't translate into all these other areas that we seem to think it does. Because I ain't no expert on nothing in but what I went to school for and what I've done all my life, and that's help people transform their lives, right? But I do think, right? And the thinker, right, is the one who eventually wins. And if they control our thinking, how can we ever really win? Everybody's yelling Black Lives Matter and don't even know the history or the basis of where that even come from. And the fact that we're jumping on bandwagons. We're humans. You know what I mean? And of course we have to bring attention to it the way that we have to, and in order to get some things done. But we're at a point now where we have to really graduate, right? Because there's civil unrest in this country right now. The National Guard is deployed. You got military on the streets. I don't know if y'all realize what part of history y'all living in. Look back. History always repeats itself. And there's factions out there that's against each other. They have different agendas. And the people are always the sacrifice. We're always in the middle of it because you don't really know what's really going on. You only know what they're telling you. And then there's things that's public information like bills and laws and stuff that are passed, but people don't really look into that because we're trained to get our information from TV, now from social media, from other people. You see a post, then we're going to attacking people. You know, sometimes I'll post something and people say, oh, that's from 2 years ago. What's your point? You're a scholar and looking at when a post or an article or something, like, you don't even know my intention behind it or people's intentions. Because I watch people argue all the time on Facebook and stuff like that and on Instagram. And like, why are we arguing if we have a common cause? We're the oppressed people. And, you know, you got to get around those people who really understand that. Because there's people out there who are going to act ignorant of why they don't understand why people are upset. You know, and it's great that other ethnicities and races and nationalities are taking on the fight. But what happens next week, a month from now? So you got to ask yourself, outside of posting, what are you really going to do? Let's not be deceived. Let's know who we're dealing with. We don't know why we're the enemy, right? They already told us a story about how we got here. We don't even know. We don't fully know our history. You know, there's arguments about, oh, we came over here on the slave ship. So if 12 million people came over on ships, where are these ships at? You know, and like, yeah, how do you get that many people over here on ships over a period of time? It's a lot of people on a ship. And, you know, and there's another argument that say we were already here. That, you know, there were some black people here. Indigenous people, right? That was already here. You know, and we refer to the indigenous people in most cases as American Indians, even though there was no America, right? They became American Indians, right? But there's different narratives, right? And I'm not here to say what's what, because I don't really know. I don't know. I don't know my family story, and most of us don't. We really don't. So the first thing we need to really do is stop arguing as if we do know, right? And stop going with these narratives that they put out for us, and really, really research. You know, let's come together and have some real conversation, some real discussions about us, if you really want to do something. I know I've attempted that in the past, and us bailed out on me. So, you know, I have faith, but I don't really have faith in people beyond what they say, because most people don't do what they say they're going to do. And that's just experience talking. I've been in these trenches trying to impact individuals. That's my work. That's my purpose. But this video was just about, let's think. Why are we shocked about how law enforcement are treating, you know, black people? They've always done this. From the onset, we've been treated like shit. And then for those who are out there who are not black, to act like they don't really get why, like, you got to be pure ignorant to not understand why there's civil unrest, why there's looting, why there's rioting, right? These people that founded this country created that kind of stuff. It didn't come from black and the white people that's out there doing it now. These people that came here started this crap. Tulsa, Oklahoma, Black Wall Street. Like, do your own history. Like, and all the people that's claiming this country, 99% of y'all people not even from here. You're not Americans. Knock it off.